This weekend on CCX News, the new approach to mental health response. How Brooklyn Park police say a change in response to certain 911 calls is making a difference. About 1 in 5 Americans have a mental illness, and sometimes that can lead to a 911 call for help. A special Brooklyn Park police unit has been responding to those calls for more than a year. Reporter Kevin Miller explains how it's working.
Here in the front we have,
for Brooklyn Park's alternative response team,
notebooks and things that we need. We have tissue, very important supply for a social worker.
This van can function as a mobile field office.
We have naloxone kits, so if people are overdosing on medications, on opioids, we can give them naloxone.
From the outside, the van appears more soccer mom than emergency response.
A step stool to help people get in.
And that's on purpose.
We'll go as a team, get in the van, and go try and make somebody's bad day better. We don't want to look like somebody else. We don't want to look like the police department. We don't want to look like the ambulance, because we're not.
This non-traditional vehicle is part of a larger non-traditional approach to answering 911 calls.
My priority is to respond to calls related to mental health, to substance abuse, homelessness, other social service needs.
The team has an office in the police station but handles 911 calls differently than the rest of the police. They send a social worker and a community paramedic to calls.
Our goal is, as much as we can, go out and resolve somebody's problem so that they don't have to keep calling 911.
Hennepin County social worker Nils Dybvig says his work is steady.
I heard that we took 800 calls in our first year. Over 800 calls. So, yeah, we've been pretty busy.
So busy, in fact.
5104, okay, he's an adult, but it sounds like he may have some mental health issues, and he said his parents are threatening him.
That a call came in as we were interviewing Brooklyn Park Police Inspector Elliot Faust.
ART call. 5104 en route.
He says the alternative response team helps free police officers to focus on crime.
They can move on to other things that are more in the wheelhouse for the officer's skill set.
Police are leaning more on this team for help.
It did not take long for the officers to realize the benefit of having these folks to assist them or to take over the call in certain circumstances. They're just better equipped to deal with these type of things.
The van unlocked.
Police say this boils down to better outcomes and a drop in mental health calls.
It makes total sense why there would be a decrease. It's because things are getting resolved where they weren't ever getting resolved before. So that's a huge win. I mean, that's a huge success, and we're seeing it early on.
In Brooklyn Park, Kevin Miller, CCX News.
A Brooklyn Park City Council vote drew a standing ovation this past week. Labor union workers wearing orange shirts showed up to support a city council vote approving a prevailing wage ordinance. A prevailing wage sets wages and benefits based on market conditions for publicly funded projects. While some point out it has the potential to increase the cost of projects by 10 to 20%, Councilmember Tony McGarvey pointed to studies saying that's not the case.
The reality is prevailing wage laws foster middle-class careers that attract talented young workers to the construction trade, which is especially important now as the baby boomers begin to retire or continue to retire at $12,000 a day.
Meanwhile, an affordable housing project in Brooklyn Park will require a prevailing wage. Decatur Landing will provide 350 units of affordable housing at the southwest corner of Highways 169 and 610. It will have 2 5-story buildings built in phases. The city requires a prevailing wage for the second phase. A prominent spot along Main Street in Maple Grove now has new life. This weekend, Delane Cleveland takes us inside the new Broadway Pizza, which has something unlike any other location you'll see in the Twin Cities.
After a 2-year absence,
I think it's great.
One of Minnesota's most beloved pizza chains has returned to Maple Grove.
It's delicious, and we love the spaghetti too.
This new venue on Main Street marks a return for the Broadway Pizza name after a former location on Elm Creek Boulevard closed 2 years ago.
For us, it was super exciting to bring it back.
Matt Polkamp is the general manager, and he says when they acquired this space, they completely gutted the inside.
Those who have been to the Claddagh, who came to Max's on Main, they knew what it looked like. It was dark, it was dungy. It really still had that Irish pub feel even when it was Max's on Main.
Their goal was to open the space up and give it more of a neighborhood bar kind of feel, where people could bring their families and enjoy one of their signature thin crust, square cut pizzas.
Our classic deluxe is our #1 pizza. It comes with pepperoni, sausage, mushrooms, onions, and green peppers. By far our best selling pizza we have.
While this is certainly a great place to enjoy some food and drinks and watch the game,
you're gonna grab it like this, you're gonna rock it back and forth, and take it out.
this location has a little something extra.
When you bring it back, bring it all the way back.
Under the same roof is Broad Axe axe throwing. A dedicated axe master walks participants through how it all works.
Make sure you have your axe up, 90-degree angle.
And teaches them proper throwing techniques to enhance the experience.
Almost had it.
It's really creating that atmosphere of something just to do. We have the axe throwing, we'll have sports playing, we have just a little bit of everything for everybody.
This venue has experienced its fair share of turnover the last 5 years, but folks here are confident that this new Broadway Pizza has staying power.
So yeah, everybody's very excited about it.
Budding gardeners can get a free start thanks to one Maple Grove resident. Avid gardener Amber Olson has a little free seed library in her yard. Her family was inspired by little free libraries in the area, and she hopes this version will inspire more people to grow their own food.
Because growing food locally is one of the biggest things you can do to impact a global food system, basically as far as resources and energy consumption and waste and all those things.
The box has seeds of all kinds to grow your own produce and flowers too. You can find the seed and book library at 9225 Ives Lane North in Maple Grove.